Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Skratch. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today, we're gonna talk about champions that will see a massive value surge with the addition of the new dungeons. Hard mode dungeons, guys. The mechanics will change. Now, from what I've seen so far, and from them confirming it in their video, plus the data mine information, the waves will still be the same on all the dungeons, so they will have the same HP, defense, attack, etc. So it's not going to be harder to kill them, but of course, we're going to require to have new mechanics for the bosses, so a lot of things will change there. We're going to talk about champions that will really shine in those areas. Plus, of course, we're going to discuss a couple of strategies for each one of the dungeons. I gotta say it straight off the back, in my opinion, the hardest dungeon out of the new ones will be Fire Knight, right? We're gonna have to knock down the shield with 21 hits, right? So that's gonna be a bit of a challenge for a lot of you guys out there. Then they're immune to Thermeter. Some of them are kind of like going crazy, but we're gonna discuss all that in just a second. Before, I just wanna let you guys know, if you enjoy the music you hear in the video, I partner up with Soundstripe. They have an amazing music library. So if you're a content creator, a music enthusiast, just looking for some new playlists to jam while you're at the gym, or you're going for a run, or just while you're in your own space relaxing, definitely check them out. The link will be in the description down below. Plus, I can save you a 15% on checkout by using code Skratch. That being said, guys, let's have a quick look at the first dungeon. So we're gonna start with the Tainted Hellraiser. This is the new dragon. Now, I don't think this will be much harder than the current dragon that we have. This has always been intended to be the easiest dungeon out of all of them. So what's gonna change right here, when the secret skill activates on the boss, he's gonna detonate all the poisons that you have on your champions. Before he's gonna debuff you, then he's gonna unlock the secret skill. Now, this can be solved pretty easy. Either you have a block debuffs, either you're gonna have a cleanser and you tune him in the team to cleanse the poisons before. Nothing else changes on the mechanics. Of course, he's gonna add increased attack. You can put block debuffs on the boss, steal the increased attack, remove it. That's another thing that will help you. I'm not sure how hard will these bosses actually hit. I'm definitely expecting them to hit a bit harder than the previous bosses. I'm not sure if they're gonna have different requirements in terms of accuracy, resistance, speed, and stuff like that. They might have a bit of a tweak in there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some changes there. But that's pretty much everything about the dragon. It's really not much that you can say so far, because they haven't provided any other sort of information if many things are changing in here. So honestly, I feel like it's not gonna be much harder than we currently know it at the moment, you know. Poisons are still gonna work on the boss, HP burn is still gonna do job, enemy max HP should still be the same, kept at 10%, unless they are planning to change that as well, which I really hope they won't, because we still want to see the enemy max HP champions being powerful, right? That's why there are only a few of them. If we're gonna move over to the next dungeon, so I'm quickly gonna explain you what changes with the Ice Golem, in case if you missed it in the video or anything like that. So basically, the boss will be able to cleanse the debuffs from himself now. So you're constantly gonna need to land debuffs on the boss, especially that decreased attack is gonna be very important. He is completely immune to poisons. So bringing in champions like Theodore, bringing in Calvalaxes, Xavias, etc., just for poison detonation and other things like this, is not gonna be a viable option anymore. On the other hand, HP burn will deal 10% more damage on the boss, and you see the minions on the side. These are kind of pretty annoying, right? Like, they are one of the major threat, because if they are alive, the boss deals a lot of damage. So whenever HP burn activates, you're gonna destroy some of their max HP. And you could potentially bring it almost down to zero. You're gonna be able to kill them super fast after, just by giving them a bit of a touch, you know. But you can still block revive on them, and that's still gonna be a very viable option. So this is pretty much what changes with the Ice Golem at the moment. Now, when we are talking about champions, guys, there are quite a few champions that will be very powerful in here, and one of them, in my opinion, is gonna be one of the best, because he's pretty tanky as well, and the whole idea with him is that he was able to solo stage 20 before. So we're going to talk about no one else but Tyrant. We're going to have a HP burn AoE. It's going to be great. It's going to be on a 3-turn cooldown. He gets to heal a bit. You have ally protection, increased defense. You have the passive, which reduces the damage, which is going to be pretty massive. Now, in terms of affinities, guys, I haven't been able to see it for every single dungeon, right? We have the Dragon, which is Void Affinity. And I feel like the rest might be Void Affinity as well. But if you're paying attention to the video where they're kind of like showing it here, they kind of like try to hide some of the affinities for some of the stages. So it's not 100% that they're gonna be void, you know, on stage 10. At least I wouldn't bet on it, you know. It's just looking a bit strange that they're kind of like trying to keep them undercover here, to hide them a bit, you know. Like they are going through the dungeons, but you see they're stopping. They're not going all the way up to stage 10, not all the way up to stage 10. So it's a bit harder to kind of like call it out, you know. And when you are looking here, they're not actually displaying the stages anymore. But hopefully they're keeping it in the same pattern, and all of them they're gonna be void at stage 10. That would actually be great because you're gonna be able to use quite a few different champions, you know. So how I mentioned, Tyrant will be great. Then we have Tumesia. Not only that she hits pretty hard, but she's gonna be able to stun the minions. You're gonna get the HP burn. And yeah, she's gonna bring in quite a bit of damage. She has a bit of thermometer manipulation as well. So all around, I feel like she's gonna be a great champion for that. You know, you have defense down, which is on the A1, so you're gonna be able to land that pretty often. AoE HP burn, which is great. And right here, this skill hits very hard, but it hits much harder on the spider. Of course, you will wanna dodge dropping a lot of damage on the Ice Golem, because if he's gonna activate his secret skill, it's gonna be pretty much game over. But I really like the passive. Whenever an ally receives a freeze debuff, has a 50% chance of replacing it with the HP burn for 2 turns instead. This debuff cannot be blocked or removed. And the thing with this is they haven't mentioned that the Ice Golem won't be landing freeze anymore, you know. So I would assume that it's still working in the same way. Then the next champion that will be actually very powerful as well is going to be a free champion, and that's going to be Dragstar Bloodwing. You can purchase the champion from the bazaar, from a tag team arena. He has this amazing passive, which is going to land HP burn on the enemies when he gets hit. He has provoke, which can help. Then the attack down, which is going to be massive on the boss. HP burn on the A1. So I feel like Dragstar is going to be a pretty solid option too. Then we have a Drang, which was a fusion not a very long time ago. And the good thing about Drang is that this doesn't require accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown. And with the A1, instantly activates any HP burn debuff on the target after attacking, which is gonna make him very powerful, because if you can constantly land the HP burn and activate it very quick, you're gonna drop a lot of damage on the boss, on the minions. So it's gonna be very powerful. Plus, he's gonna equalize the HP of your allies, which is gonna give you a bit of a heal. Reflects 30% of the damage, which is not gonna be that great on the Ice Golem. Then, if we're gonna talk about other champions that can be pretty good in here, is gonna be Cisia Flame Tongue. I feel like I'm keep going back to the demon spawns. There are quite a few epics that do HP burn as well, guys, but I feel like most of them are squishy. You're gonna need to have tankier champions on the Ice Golem, you know. Cisia is gonna be great because she's gonna detonate the HP burn, so that's gonna help quite a bit. My only concern here is the HP burn detonation gonna activate the passive of the boss, you know, same like War Master and the rest of the things. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm kind of like doing a bet here with Cisia, but yeah, she brings defense down, weaken, the HP burn. She can grant an extra turn if she lands it on all the 3 enemies. It's gonna be way more consistent than on the spider, where she needs to land HP burn on all the spiderlings, and the chances are kind of like pretty low to do it every single time, because of that 3% chance proccing all the time, feeling like 1000%. And detonating the HP burn is actually pretty nice. The A1 increases the duration of HP burn. This will be very, very helpful as well. You detonate, you increase, so you always have it on. But of course, when the boss cleanses, you're gonna have to land it again. And the passive is decent as well. So this is another good option. Ninja, I think he can potentially be a very solid option. But again, I cannot remember if when you detonate the HP burn, you activate the passive. So this is something that I could potentially check on stage 20, but they might change it for the new dungeon, you know. So I'm not putting all my money on it, you know. But Hailburn skill is actually very, very powerful there. Then you have attacks all enemies when targeting a boss, will only attack the boss, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see if Ninja is gonna be great in there. Maybe even on the Fire Knight, he could potentially just slowly melt the boss, you know. If we're gonna talk about epics, I feel like Geomancer could potentially be great on the Ice Golem, but then at the same time, it's gonna be hard to don't bring another HP burn champion in there just to have Geomancer. And I feel like, yeah, we gotta see if the boss is gonna do a lot of damage, and if we're gonna be able to kind of like slowly kill him with the reflect, how that's gonna interact with the mechanics. But yeah, it's kind of like a yes or a no with Geomancer in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. Moving over to the next dungeon, guys, and how I mentioned, in my opinion, this is probably the hardest dungeon, and this is the Fire Knight. So basically, kind of like what changed in here, you have the shield. Right now on stage 25 is 12 hits. Well, you're gonna need 21 hits on the new dungeon, guys, on stage 10. And you can do this by having reflect damage. Counter attack is gonna be way more important now. Ally attack is gonna be very powerful, of course. Multi-hits on the champions. You're not gonna be able to use Allure, Cold Hearts to control the Thermometer because that's not gonna work anymore. So I feel like Cold Heart might drop out of it. Some people might keep Cold Heart in for the A1 because of 4 hits and the enemy max HP. That's still gonna be pretty viable in dealing damage and the rest. But we're gonna see a massive value surge on champions that, yeah, they've been vaulted for a very long time. Freeze is gonna come in and save the situation. So every time you're gonna land a freeze debuff on the boss, of course you're not gonna be able to freeze it, but you're gonna drop 15% of the Thermometer. So yeah, we're not gonna have anything similar with Allure, but they are champions that have multi-hits and land the freeze with every single hit, and we're gonna talk about that in just a second. I feel like that's gonna be kind of like the main thing. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you have shield right here, reflect damage as a buff is not gonna work because you're not actually taking damage. The shield is getting hit, and that's not really reflecting damage back. So using Dart the Hungerer with a shield is not gonna work. Using a Sneak Track or whatever is his name, we're gonna check him in a second, is not really gonna work. I never really understood the kit of that champion. He shields, he puts reflect damage. If the boss hits you when you have shield, the reflect damage is not gonna work towards it unless they are planning to change that, which hopefully is going to happen. But enough talking about that. The boss will destroy enemy max HP, so they're gonna destroy your HP with every hit. Whenever you hit him, you're gonna get destroyed HP. Now, if you have a shield, that's actually gonna protect you from it, but then reflect damage is not gonna work unless you're using the one champion that can do the work. And I feel like Brockney is gonna see an absolute massive value surge on this dungeon. He does have pretty slow animations, but the thing is, he shields, right? He gives block debuffs, increase attack, which is gonna help you quite a bit. Then, whenever an ally under a shield buff is attacked, reflects 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield back to the attacker. So instantly, whenever the boss is gonna hit you, these are gonna be 5 hits redirected to him. I think maybe even a Giant Slayer might work on here. I don't think that's gonna count as a hit in there. Phantom Touch is gonna be massive on your champions. You're definitely gonna wanna use champions that have multi-hits and Phantom Touch at a higher level. That's gonna help you quite a bit. So Brogni, HP burn on the A1, I feel like he's gonna be one of the MVPs for this dungeon. Then when we are talking about freeze champions, of course, Acrizia, guys, she's gonna be solid in most of the dungeons. I don't really need to mention it. It's not like she's not a GOAT already, you know. But when we are talking about freeze champions, that's something that's gonna come in play, and I am definitely looking forward to it. I feel like this bad boy right here is gonna see an insane surge, guys, for the simple fact that it's kind of like gonna be the new allure in a way or another. So with the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if the target is under a freeze debuff. Now the freeze debuff, from what I've seen in the video, is not actually gonna stay on the boss. It's just gonna disappear, but you're gonna drop the turn meter. Then the A2 attacks 3 times at random. Each hit, fully booked, on a 3-turn cooldown, will have a 100% chance to land a freeze debuff for 1 turn. So that's instantly a 45% turn meter drop with Gory. Now, how would you build Gory? You want to build him on a reflex, or you want to build him on a relentless. That's what's going to take his value even higher, because you want to use this skill as often as possible. You want to gain extra turns to use it more often, so like that you're constantly dropping the turn meter. And of course, this one I would probably just completely block this skill. I wouldn't use it at all. The passive counterattacks with a Cold Comfort skill whenever an enemy places a stun, sleep, freeze, which unfortunately is not the case on the Fire Knight. But I feel like Gory will be another MVP for the new Fire Knight stage. So if you have one, don't feed him, okay? Don't feed him. You might want to build him, you might not, but do not feed the champion, because you're probably gonna need it. If we're gonna move over to another champion that she's been sitting in the vault for a very, very long time. A few months ago, she got a bit of a rework. Shiri Mani, awesome support champion. She was MVP in Faction Wars when they got released ages ago for this faction. So with the A1, attacks 3 times at random, has a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. This would have a very good potential. Of course, the chance is pretty low to do it, but they are 3 hits, so every now and then you're going to be able to drop freeze with this skill and decrease the turn meter of the boss. Then you're going to have heals, which they're going to be massive because you're going to need them. And the A3 attacks all enemies, 100% chance to place a freeze. The only thing is, this is going to be on a 4-turn cooldown, you know. Maybe she's going to get a bit of a buff again soon, and the A1 will have a higher chance to land the freeze. That will really make Shirimani even more powerful. But so far, these two will be the MVPs in terms of freeze. Then we have another champion, which is free in the clan shop. I kind of like didn't really got the idea when they added the champion to the clan shop, you know. But Yakal, guys, he's gonna be a very, very solid option for the Fire Knight as well. With the A1, attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit fully booked will have a 50% chance to land freeze. So that's quite a bit of a turn meter manipulation in there. Double hits. The A3 attacks 1 enemy, places decreased speed, has a 100% chance to freeze. Again, turn meter manipulation, decreased speed is still going to be very effective against the boss. A 3-turn cooldown, plus he deals pretty good damage. Then attacks all enemies, again has a chance to freeze. So it's very, very powerful. Void affinity too, so regardless of whatever the affinity will be on stage 10, Yakar is going to be a very solid option, and a lot of you guys can get this champion for free. I think you might need to be in a higher level clan to unlock the fragments for him, but if you haven't started purchasing the fragments, I would definitely consider in getting them, you know. Very, very solid option right here. I'm just checking if I missed any of the champions that I kind of like wanted to talk about. Sneak Track, or whatever is his name from the Skinwalkers. I don't have the champion, but the thing with him is the A1 lands decrease attack, which is great. Attacks all enemies, decrease speed, shield. The one thing is this. Places ally protection and reflect damage. 3-turn cooldown. This is going to help you a lot. This is kind of like going to counter the A3 because the reflect damage doesn't go to shield. So I would probably just stop this if I'm planning to do a team like this and just rely on the A3. The only thing is, this is a single hit, so you're not really going to get much value out of the champion. We do have Fellhound as a rare champion that does reflect damage, and that's been a very OG strategy in how you can deal with the Fire Knight. And of course, we got Dar the Hungerer, which was part of a fusion. Attacks 1 enemy. You have a revive with a bit of turn meter, and this reflect damage and continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown. So this can be a very viable option as well. Instantly, you're gonna drop 5 hits from the shield when the boss hits you. Plus, of course, we can talk about counterattack champions. Valkyrie is gonna be the best, just for the simple fact that she has a double hit. She gives you a massive shield, so that will protect you with destroyed HP. But her animations are pretty slow, so counterattack will slow you down a bit. I think an ally attack might work better. Maybe a Krela Witcher, maybe even a Lana Keys, maybe even a Ferrokin the Fat. Champions like this could bring a bit of help as well. Or maybe use them both, counterattack, ally attack. Why not? Maybe even use a Brogdon if you have all the champions and just go crazy on the dungeon, you know? I forgot to mention Kroknam for the Ice Golem, but that, again, we need to see how the HP burn detonation works. This is gonna affect all the enemies on the board, so it's gonna be pretty solid for the Ice Golem. Moving over, guys, to the next dungeon, our final dungeon. I feel like I've been going on for quite a while. Hopefully the video is not gonna end up in being too long. But right here, what's gonna happen? So you see, HP burn is not gonna be effective on the boss, because whenever you drop an HP burn, you see it's still gonna be 442k hit, but the boss is gonna heal for 147 back. So it doesn't mean that HP burn is completely scrapped off from the spider. You can still use it, drop some damage, the boss is gonna heal a bit back. But the most effective thing here is gonna be to kill the waves. So whenever you kill the spiderlings, the boss is gonna take 454k damage per spiderling. I'm not 100% sure which stage is this, honestly, but I'm just kind of like giving you the numbers that I'm seeing on the screen. The spiderlings will have the same stats like on stage 25 at the moment. So if we're gonna go in, just to show you as an example, it's pretty easy to kill the spiderlings. That's why a lot of times when we're using AoE HP burn, we want to be careful. So I have 2 Royal Guards. One of them is in Savage, one of them is in Relentless, right? You need to have defense down, weaken, and you're going to be able to kill the spiderlings. Probably you're going to have to use some sort of a reset if you want to have a speed run on it. You're not going to be able to manipulate the turn meter. I think that this dungeon is definitely not going to be necessarily harder. You see, that was 1 hit from 1 Royal Guard. I haven't really tuned the team, so the back spiderlings, they don't have the debuffs. That's why they're going to stay alive. But the rest, they just got melted by 2 Royal Guards, you know? So Royal Guard is going to be very, very powerful in here. I still have, I think, 4 of them built, if not 5. And I kind of like dropped them down from my Hydra team because of Husk and the Provoke and the changes that they kind of like came to Hydra. But I'm definitely looking forward to be able to use them now. So having 2 Royal Guards, defense down, weaken, of course, that's going to create a bit of RNG, but we might be able to use Ghostborn and maybe use 3 Royal Guards and a reset if you have that available, or use 3 Royal Guards and a strong nuker, you know, an AoE nuker, which we're going to talk in just... which I'm going to show you in just a second. Like, we could potentially try a champion like Ray. Ray, I feel like she's going to get a massive value surge as well, because we're going to be able to land a lot of damage with her A2. So if we have debuffs on the target, we're gonna do more damage. I don't have increased attack, I don't have crazy stats on her, so I'm very curious to see if she's gonna be able to deal some solid damage on them in the way she is. So we're gonna use this skill and see. So we didn't one-shot them. I feel like enemy max HP like Royal Guards are still gonna be more powerful in here. You see, if I would have increased attack, then yeah, I could use an Arbiter for increased attack, defense down, weaken, have Ray to come in and nuke. She would definitely wreck the spiderlings like that, you know. That's pretty much what you're gonna need to have in here. Strong nukers. Tumesia can be great too, because you're gonna land the HP burn, which is still gonna be fairly effective, I would say, and you're gonna be able to hit very, very powerful on the boss with her A3, because there are a lot of spiderlings alive, you know. You cannot manipulate the turn meter, but if you already land the HP burn, the spiderlings are moving with the stun, you're already taking some damage on them and on the queen, and then you're gonna be able to kind of like finish it off with another nuker. Most probably, just killing all the spiderlings once is not gonna kill the boss, so you're gonna have to do it probably 2 times, you know. And there are a lot of different powerful nukers in the game, guys. You wanna have AoE nukers. That's gonna be kind of like the key to success. Of course, if you're not able to melt the boss, if you don't have a reset champion like a Kaimar or a Renegade, you're gonna have to probably use some sort of support champions in there. But this is pretty much what I'm seeing so far, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If I missed anything, you think maybe other champions will see a pretty big value surge with the addition of the new dungeons. Appreciate all of you guys watching. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.